Hey everybody, this is another episode of What Ted Says, and it's always time to get a fatter wallet and a bigger net worth. And a lot of people are asking me about used cars and whether or not those prices can keep on surging because used cars are super hot right now. Now, let's talk about first things first, the fact that used cars are up 21% year over year and that the average price of a used car is more than $25,000 right now, and a year ago it was less than $21,000. And if you compare that versus new cars are almost $40,000 now, but they're only up 4.9% versus a year ago. So used cars are on fire. Now, the question is, how do you make money on this? Well, let's talk about the fact that what's really hot right now are beaters and clunkers, and cars that have more than 100,000 miles. They were up 31% just over the last month. And the hottest car by far right now is not a car, it's a truck. Trucks that have high mileage right now, like Chevy Silverados, they sold for 49% more last month. And you think about the price appreciation, cars are supposed to depreciate, they're actually price appreciating right now. But you better sharpen your pencils, because if you really want to get a deal right now, the most important thing that you should be asking yourself is, am I on a lease? And is this the time to do a lease buyout? Now, when you sign a lease, realize that you set the residual value. This is what the car's estimated worth is going to be when you have to buy out the car at the time of the contract. And a contract's a contract, so when you sign the contract, the value of that car at the end of the lease is set in stone. Nobody expected that cars would appreciate. They expected, like I said, that they would depreciate. So if you leased a car that was worth $37,000 in value, and at the end of the 3 years of the lease, the buyout says that it's $23,000 of value, that car today is probably really worth $30,000. So technically, you get a little bit of what they call to be arbitrage. You could immediately buy that car for $23,000 because you have that locked in now. You could turn around minus the sales tax, you have to look at that, and sell that car for $30,000. Or why lease the car if you're behind on mileage? Maybe you just buy the car for $23,000, and with super low interest rates, you finance it right now. So what to know is that because of Chipageddon, or this chip shortage, this goes back to what Ted Says teaches you, and I talk about in this, in the irrefutable law of supply and demand. And as long as we have chip shortages and Chipageddon and we can't get more new cars, that lowers how many used cars that we have, and thus it increases the prices of used cars. But use these tips that I gave you today. Think about where you might sell, think about doing a lease buyout, and consider the numbers when you're buying a used car. And that's this episode of What Ted Says.